understanding the nuances of English language learning, we need to understand the etymology of English language. Now, 2000 years back, believe me, there was hardly any individual on this earth who spoke English. English was simply not there 2000 years before. History says that the early settlers of England were of East Germanic tribe. England is a land of settlers. England was a land of settlers, and probably in 440 BC, Julius Caesar invaded England, and there was Greek rule, the Roman rule in the entire England for near about 2 centuries. That's what history says. See, let's go to the next slide, sir. Please go to the next slide, please. There was Norman expedition, and it was led from the front by one gentleman named William the Conqueror, and he established the Norman dynasty. Some of the settlers of England were Celts, Normans, and Anglo-Saxons. So, group of people, they came, they occupied the territory, they established their regime for a short period. So, England was foreign threat and foreign rule for years, and slowly, see, when a country or even a kingdom is under a foreign rule, several things get influenced. For example, many things that we eat, halwa, parota, biryani, all the common items that we eat of now, they were due to the influence of Mughal dynasty. Because of Mughal kingdom that ruled in India, you find all these items which are very common. Leather was totally not known to Tamil Nadu. Leather came from Andhra. It's because of the Arcad rule that leather technology got introduced in Tamil Nadu. So likewise, when England was under a foreign regime, it got influenced by so many things. Sir, let's go to the next slide. Now, England was not called England earlier days. It was in a different name, England. It means the land of Angles. I told you there were Normans, there were Celts, there were Anglo-Saxons, several people who frequented England and established their own dynasty. So because of this Anglo-Saxons, the name Angles got stuck. So they were there in the Middle Ages, and they came to England soon after the completion of Mughal rule. And probably they were the one to introduce the old English language. Though people like us, people like Ramakrishnan sir and I, we have been practicing English teaching for decades. When we read the original text of Shakespeare, which was written in 15th century, we are unable to follow it because it was written in Old English. And we cannot understand Old English. And Old English is different from the present English. And probably these Anglo-Saxons were the one who got this present Old English introduced. So the next slide, sir. Now, you know that English has a global presence. English has a global presence. But when you say which language is spoken by maximum people in this globe, then I would say that maximum, a language that is spoken by the maximum people is none other than Chinese. Then you will be surprised by the fact that there are quite a number of people who speak Spanish. Because in olden days, Spanish, it got expanded and expanded, and they were the people occupying the entire Europe. And because of that expansion, and Spanish is the largest spoken language next to Chinese. But English has its own presence everywhere, and it is spoken in different parts of the globe. So there are 5 kinds of English. One is called British, the other is American, then you have Australian, Indian, and Black English. Now, problem is that each of them is different from other. I'll tell you how. So next slide, sir, please. Next slide. They are distinct and different from each other in action, rhythm, and intonation. They are distinct and different from each other in action, rhythm, and intonation. For example, I've been a follower of cricket for years. So whenever Indian cricket team tours abroad, I used to follow the fortunes of Indian cricket team very closely. Whenever there is a live telecast of a cricket match, I used to watch it very passionately. But when I look into the auditory part of it, I have a problem in understanding. I have a problem in understanding when the commentator happens to be a black like Michael Holding. When Michael Holding speaks English, he speaks English with black accent. He's a Caribbean. He speaks English in a black accent. And I have some difficulty, though I know I can understand when somebody speaks to me in English. I have a problem in understanding him. Likewise, whenever a commentator, an Australian commentator like Ian Chappell, when he gives his commentary, I still have a problem in understanding him because he speaks with Australian accent. And a guy like Jeffrey Boycott, of course, he is no more. Boycott, when he gave commentary, he speaks with beautiful British accent. I'm comfortable when I listen to Sunil Gavaskar, when I listen to Ravi Shastri, because they are all Indians and they speak Indian English. Indian English, in the sense, it's not that their English is faulty one. They speak English in an impeccable manner, flawless manner, but I'm comfortable with their action, rhythm, and intonation. Right? So, based on these 3 parameters, English is classified into 5 kinds. Now, shall we go to the next one, sir? Now, apart from action, rhythm, and pronunciation, there are, action, rhythm, and intonation. There are other challenges in learning English language. One big problem with English language is that there is difference between the spoken form and the written form. Because we are all Tamil speakers, so let's understand how Tamil is spoken. When you write a word in Tamil, all the letters in the word, they are articulated. All the letters in the word are articulated. For example, I write Pa-la-ni, Palani. So the way I write, the way I pronounce, the way it is uttered. So there is no word either in the beginning or in the end or somewhere in the middle which 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 has only orthographic representation. I say orthographic representation in the sense it is there in the written form, but when it is uttered, the letter has no role to play. For example, take the word psychology. When you write the word psychology, you invariably start with P letter. When you don't write P letter, then they say you have gone wrong with spelling. But when you utter the word psychology, instead of giving pa sound due to the presence of P letter, it starts with sa sound, isn't it? That signifies that the letter P has only orthographic representation, and it hardly has any presence as far as pronunciation is concerned. So this is one big problem with English, because there is no one-to-one the spoken form and the written form. Some common mistakes, for example, let's take the word D-E-B-U-T. When you pronounce it as debut, D-E-B-U, and the last letter T, it is not uttered at all. So this is one simple example. And for English teachers, there is a task called like summary writing. There is another task, and the spelling goes like this: P-R-E-C-I-S, writing. When you pronounce this word, you say precise writing. It is not precise writing. So when you say it is called precise writing, there are many words, many words. For example, W-O-R-K. You pronounce it as buck, never say work. Because there is a rule in English which says that whenever the letter R is preceded by a vowel letter, the R goes mute. Because R has only orthographic representation. It has no role in utterance. So this is the rule. So these are all problems or challenges in English speaking. And another thing is that I can manage some five languages, and of those languages, I strongly believe that English is a language which has a unique sentence pattern. I'll give you one example. I go home. Take this sentence. I go home. I is a noun. I is a subject. Go is a verb. Home is object. Now let's render this sentence in Tamil. Na வீட்டுக்கு போறேன். Na is the subject. வீட்டுக்கு object. போறேன் verb. So in English it is SVO, whereas in Tamil it is SOV. And if you in Hindi, may gar jayaha, may subject, gar object, jayaha verb. So again it is SOV. In Kannada, namane vogutene, nan subject, mane vogutene. So again, when you give a very careful study of English and other languages, you will understand that English follows a unique sentence pattern. It follows a unique sentence pattern. Why I'm telling you this is that for aspirants of English language learning, never resort to word by word translation. When you go for parallel translation, you will tend to go wrong And that I'll explain more in the subsequent slides. So shall we move to the next slide, sir? Now, when you want to learn English language, you must get rid of quite a few bad habits. I tell my students in my very first class that they must do two things. One is they must develop the habit of unlearning bad English and relearning good English. There is a saying in English, old habits die hard. Old habits die hard. தொட்டில் பழக்கம் சுடுகாடு மட்டும். கத்துக்கிட்ட bad English, it will not go so easily. For example, in the uniform, ununiform. It's a very common thing everywhere. On the days when you don't want students to come in uniform, you say, please come in ununiform tomorrow. But very honestly speaking, is there a word in English called ununiform? Definitely not. But some way or other, this bad practice has got in. And especially students from matriculation schools, they are addicted to such wrong usages. Even when you correct them, they are unable to get rid of them. So I tell my students, see, when I teach you something correctly, you must see that you don't do the mistake next time. So that's it. I ask them to develop the habit of unlearning bad English and relearning good English. For that to happen, never venture to practice translation method. Always let's practice direct method. That's it. So let's go to the next slide, sir. Now, there are 5 lakhs of words in English. There are 5 lakhs of words in English. Now, for to be a good speaker of English, it's not necessary that you must have acquired all those words in your vocabulary. It's not so. English is such a simple language that you can speak very good English with just 2,000 words. And for a degree student, that too for an engineering student, I'm very confident that by this time your word power should be at least 5 times more than 2,000. There are all the words that you know. We call them vocabulary or word power. Now, there are 2 kinds of vocabulary. One is called active vocabulary and the other is called passive vocabulary. So what is active vocabulary? Say for example, there are many words in Tamil which you are familiar with. You know how to pronounce the word, you know the meaning of it, you know when and where to use those words, but you don't use them. Very simple. Yamma, சீக்கிரமா தலைய சீவு இல்ல முடிய சீவு அப்படின்னு அம்மா சொல்லுவாங்க. கூந்தல சீவுன்னு அம்மா சொல்லுவாங்களா? இல்ல நீங்க யார்கிட்ட சொல்லுவாங்க உங்க கூந்தல சீவிட்டீங்களா அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவீங்களா? கூந்தல் அப்படின்றது what does it mean? முடியத்தான் கூந்தல்னு சொல்றாங்க. This is a word which you know but you don't practice very often. So this word is there as part and parcel of your passive vocabulary, but it is not there as in your active vocabulary. So as it is there in passive vocabulary, you call this all the words that are stored in your mind. All the words that are stored in your mind are kept in a cool storage. We call it passive vocabulary. For to be a good speaker, you must transfer maximum words from your passive vocabulary to active vocabulary so that you are familiar with more and more words you are frequently using them. So you ought to expand your active vocabulary. So this transfer should take place in a constant manner. So if you ought to be a really good speaker, this transfer has to take place. Now, next slide, sir. Now, I have come across being a language teacher, teaching a foreign language in an alien setting. Quite often, I've come across many asking me this question: sir, I wish to improve my spoken English. Which book should I refer to? They ask me such questions. I simply laugh at them because, just dear students, just give a thought about it. We are all fairly comfortable speakers of English, of Tamil language, our vernacular language. Who taught us the spoken aspect of Tamil? Can you say that I dedicate my entire fluency in Tamil language to this particular individual? Can you identify one particular individual? Definitely not. See, when you were a baby, your mother, your father, and relatives who frequented your home, they all fondled you in Tamil. They all fondled you. They played with you in Tamil. And because of this, Tamil was getting dinned into your ears on day-to-day basis, every now and then. So, more and more of listening of Tamil, you slowly started responding to things in Tamil. Take for your situation. While you were learning Tamil, nobody taught you the grammar aspect of it. This would have taken place probably on one of the days. Your mother would be giving you food. Maybe in one afternoon, a dog might have strayed in. Maybe you might have been petting one dog and it might be straying in your home. Then, looking at the dog, you say, Amma, your mother would say, Paru, Nai Varudu. A dog comes in, your mother would say. You listen to what your mother says. Now you grasp. Oh, this four-legged creature is called dog. So when it comes in this direction, you say, Varudu. Fine. Now, the same evening, your father comes. Now, in an ambitious mood, or in an adventurous mood, you say, Amma, Appa, Varudu, you say. Now your mother corrects, Illama, Varudu Cholada, Varrar Cholada. Appa is a man to be respected. So now your mother teaches you grammar in an implicit manner. Understand? Your mother teaches you grammar. She never may wear the nay, agrinay. She teaches you, but never giving you the rules. She simply says, Appa Barrar. Now you understand. Oho, Appa chonna Barrar chonna, animal chonna Barudu chonna. This is how you understand things. See, all of us, not all the children, have a built-in ability to learn one language in the natural setting. So this is what Noam Chomsky says, the famous linguist. He says that all of us are built with an innate ability. So because of this innate ability, as we were from a Tamil sector, at home and in society, we were really able to acquire Tamil language. Now challenges come only when you learn a second language in an unnatural setting. Now, engineering college students, apart from your technical English subject, it comes 1 hour in a day. How long you listen to good English? Tell me. So, you should understand that like the way you acquire Tamil language, the same way you need to acquire English language. There cannot be any second opinion about it. This is the only way. So that's why we call second language learning to be, language learning to be an acquired skill. So an acquired skill in the sense, it cannot be taught by any external agency, whereas it can be self-learned. So it can be self-learned. So now, how can we learn English language? At best, teachers like me or teachers like Ramakrishnan sir can create a spark, or we can ignite a spark in your mind towards English learning. The spark that is ignited must rage into a flame, and you must develop a passion for learning English language. Not only for English language, for learning anything, passion happens to be the biggest area or biggest investment. When you have a passion for learning English, definitely you will succeed. So go to the next slide, sir. Maybe move to the next slide. Now, this is another mistake. I tell my students, என் கிளாஸ்ல யாருமே கூச்சப்படக்கூடாதுன்னு சொல்லுவேன். அந்த நான் ஆஸ்க் them the question, கூச்சத்துக்கு இங்கிலீஷ்ல என்னம்மா அப்படின்னு கேட்பேன். அவங்க ஷைன்னு சொல்லுவாங்க. They say shy. Then I tell them, please learn. கூச்சம் வேற, நாணம் வேற, வெக்கம் வேற. வெக்கமா இருக்கு, I feel shy. That is different. Nanam is a quality attached to women. So this is called coyness in English. Coy or coyness. Kucham is called blush. So I tell my students, you must avoid blushing. And problems get multiplied in mixed gender class, when there are boys and girls. When you make the students speak English, girls will be wary of the presence of boys and the vice versa. So it again is a challenge to make them open their mouths, because English language cannot come out of a student's mouth unless the student himself or herself opens the mouth and utters something. We cannot drag things out, isn't it? It's not a possibility at all. So the moment they become conscious of the mistakes they are going to commit, definitely it becomes potentially challenging. That's why I say that please do remember that all of us were crawling before we started walking comfortably. While crawling, there might have been occasions when we would have tumbled. So this is something that we need to be wary of. Now, sir, next slide, sir. Now we'll go to the real session. Now, do you see my face now? Do you see my face? Now, are learning anything, people say that even a journey of 1,000 miles has to start with a small step. For learning the spoken part of English language, it has to start somewhere. And I strongly believe that it has to start with the usage of do and does. Now, you must know when to use do and when to use does. This is something which you must be very wary of. Now, let's say there are 5 kinds of starters that identify. See, I don't teach you grammar here explicitly. Instead of calling them subjects, I call them starters. I, we, you, they, he, she, it. These are all the starters. Now, whenever we frame sentences using these starters, let's be very careful. First of all the words in English, we like this verb because verb itself is like. Let's start learning English from this verb. I like red. You like red. We like red. They like red. He likes red. She likes red. Now, I like red. You like red. We like red. He likes red. She likes red. It likes red. Now, you should know that when I say. Now, how do we frame questions now? I like red. You like red. Now I say, I like red. Do I like red? You ask the question. Then, I like red. Do I like red? Yes, you do. You like red. Do you like red? Yes, I do. We like red. Do we like red? Yes, we do. They like red. Do they like red? Yes, they do. He likes red. Does he like red? Yes, he does. She likes red. Does she like red? Yes, she does. Now, you must understand the correct way of answering yes and no questions. When somebody asks you, sir, do you like coffee? You say, yes, I do. Or no, I don't. Are you a student of Nanamani College of Technology? Yes, I am. No, I am not. This should be the correct answer. That's called English. Speak English. Never talk in English. Speak English in the sense, try to speak English in an impeccable manner. That's more important. We like red. Do we like red? Yes, we do. They like red. Do they like red? Yes, they do. He likes red. Does he like red? Yes, he does. So you must practice when to use do and when to use does. So for starters, he, she, it. The next, for starters, he, she, it, you must use does. And for starters, I, we, you, and they, you need to use do. This, please bear in your mind. Go to the next slide, sir. Now, I told you, I like red. Now, let's come to the opposite of it. I don't like yellow. You don't like yellow. We don't like yellow. They don't like yellow. He does not like yellow. She does not like yellow. Of course, it does not like yellow. Such a question does not arise because it refers to only animals and they seldom talk. So now, I don't like yellow. Do I like yellow? No, you don't. You don't like yellow. Do you like yellow? No, I don't. We don't like yellow. Do we like yellow? No, we don't. They don't like yellow. Do they like yellow? No, they don't. He does not like yellow. Does he like yellow? No, he does not. She does not like yellow. Does she like yellow? No, she does not. These are the things which you must bear in mind. Now, in one part, he likes red. I like red. I do not like yellow. I like red. Do I like red? I do not like yellow. Do I like yellow? No, I don't. This you must practice until you are comfortable with it. Until you are comfortable with it. This is one thing. We'll go to the next one. Now, after like, let's go to eat. Eat. It is a small verb, very common verb which we all use. For example, I eat idlis. Do I eat idlis? Yes, you do. You eat idlis. Do you eat idlis? Yes, you do. We eat idlis. Do we eat idlis? Yes, we do. They eat idlis. Do they eat idlis? Yes, they do. He eats idlis. Does he eat idlis? Yes, he does. She eats idlis. Does she eat idlis? Yes, she does. Now, I have replaced the verb like with with eat, and I have practiced the same do. Likewise, you must also learn to ask do and does. You learn to ask questions using do and does starters. See, in real life, an interaction can be only in the form of questions and answers. You ask me something, I respond to it. This is how things go. So, first thing to learn in a language is to learn how to ask questions. The moment you learn how to ask questions, you will understand how to answer them. This is it. Now, next slide, sir. I told you I eat idlis. I don't eat noodles. You don't eat noodles. We don't eat noodles. They don't eat noodles. He does not eat noodles. She does not eat noodles. I say, I don't eat noodles. Do I eat noodles? No, you don't. You don't eat noodles. Do you eat noodles? No, you don't. We do not eat noodles. Do we eat noodles? No, we don't. They don't eat noodles. Do they eat noodles? No, they don't. He does not eat noodles. Does he eat noodles? No, he does not. She does not eat noodles. Does she eat noodles? No, she does not. So, this is how you must answer yes and no questions. You must learn. See, when Chitramam Kaipalakam, Sendamidum Napalakam. So when I say this, you may feel that you have understood. Such a simple task, but unless you practice it, it's a challenge to execute. Definitely, it will be a challenge to execute because unless you are comfortable with the usage of do and does, you cannot go to the next model, cannot go to the next pattern. Because there are some 12 patterns, and if you are familiar with those 12 sentences and you know how to construct them, definitely I call them the basic structures. And once you are perfect with those basic structures, any number of superstructures will not trouble you because you have made a very strong foundation. And once the foundation is stronger, and you can construct as many stories as you want. So please practice. Move to the next slide, sir. Now I have replaced eat with read. I read Dinamalar. You read Dinamalar. We read Dinamalar. They read Dinamalar. He reads Dinamalar. She reads Dinamalar. Now, this is again. I read Dinamalar. Do I read Dinamalar? Yes, you do. You read Dinamalar. Do you read Dinamalar? Yes, I do. We read Dinamalar. Do we read Dinamalar? Yes, we do. They read Dinamalar. Do they read Dinamalar? Yes, they do. He reads Dinamalar. How do we ask questions here? Does he read Dinamalar? She reads Dinamalar. Does she read Dinamalar? Yes, she does. So, when sentences are constructed using he or she starters, then it is imperative that it is imperative that you make use of does, not do. This is something that has to be registered in your subconscious mind. Even when somebody wakes you up from your deep state of slumber, you must be perfect in using them. So once you are comfortable with usage of do and does, other things come like leaves springing out of trees, as naturally as leaves coming out of trees. Understand? Now, let's go to next thing. Again, I don't read Dinabhumi. You don't read Dinabhumi. We don't read Dinabhumi. They don't read Dinabhumi. He does not read Dinabhumi. She does not read Dinabhumi. I don't read Dinabhumi. Do I read Dinabhumi? No, you don't. You don't read Dinabhumi. Do you read Dinabhumi? No, I don't. We don't read Dinabhumi. Do we read Dinabhumi? No, we don't. They don't read Dinabhumi. Do they read Dinabhumi? No, they don't. He does not read Dinabhumi. Does he read Dinabhumi? No, he does not. She does not read Dinabhumi. Does she read Dinabhumi? No, she does not. So now you must know how to ask questions using I, you, we, they, he, and she, using do and does expressions. Understand? These are all very basic things, and if you are not comfortable with them, then definitely you will have problem at a later stage. The next slide, sir. Again, I'm coming one more example. Ride. Ride. I ride motorcycle. You ride motorcycle. We ride motorcycle. They ride motorcycle. He rides motorcycle. She rides motorcycle. I ride motorcycle. Do I ride motorcycle? Yes, you do. You ride a motorcycle. Do you ride motorcycle? Yes, I do. We ride motorcycle. Do we ride motorcycle? Yes, we do. They ride motorcycle. Do they ride motorcycle? Yes, they do. He rides motorcycle. Does he ride motorcycle? Yes, he does. She rides motorcycle. Does she ride motorcycle? Yes, she does. You must again be very careful when to use do, when not to use do. This is something that has to be stored in your subconscious mind. And please do understand that I'm not at all teaching you any grammar here, because learning the spoken form of any language can be done without knowing the grammar. For example, I speak Kannada at home. I don't speak Tamil at home. I speak Kannada, and I can listen to Kannada, respond back. I have never undergone any kind of formal learning of Kannada language. If you ask me anything, nobody taught me at school Kannada. So, being Kannadigas living in Tamil Nadu, all that we know is that when my wife or my son or any relative talks to me in Kannada, I can talk back to them in Kannada. When he asks me to write a sentence or read a sentence in Kannada, I'm sorry. I got a very sorry figure, because no school learning is, I'm not exposed to any kind of formal learning of Kannada language. And if you ask me what is the subject, verb, object, or whatever it is in Kannada language, I'm sorry. I do not know the grammatic rules of Kannada language, because I have not undergone any formal learning of this language. Whereas you should understand that many other language speakers in Tamil Nadu, they can listen, they can understand when somebody speaks to them in Telugu Telugu or Malayalam or any other language, Saurashtrian or any other language. But when something is written, they are unable to read it, because for listening to any language or for speaking any language, there is no necessity of a formal learning. What is quintessential is need to have a conducive atmosphere for learning the spoken part of that language. When I was a baby, my parents spoke to me only in Kannada. And all the relatives who came to our home and who fondled, played with me, they responded only in Kannada. So because of that Kannada atmosphere, I was exposed to more and more of Kannada listening, and I became a good speaker of Kannada. This is how we all learn one language. Understand? And Tamil, I picked up Tamil because I was exposed to formal learning of Tamil. When I went to school, they taught me the alphabets of Tamil, then grammar and the whole lot of it. And when I stepped out of my house, every person whom I came across, they responded to me only in Tamil. So I learned Kannada at home and Tamil from the society. So this is how you learn a language. Now go to the next slide, sir. I told you, I ride motorcycle. I don't ride MIT. We don't ride MIT. You don't ride MIT. They don't ride MIT. He does not ride MIT. She does not ride MIT. I don't ride MIT. Do I ride MIT? No, you don't. You don't ride MIT. Do you ride MIT? No, you don't. We don't ride MIT. Do we ride MIT? No, we don't. They don't ride MIT. Do they ride MIT? No, they don't. He does not ride MIT. Does he ride MIT? No, he does not. She does not ride MIT. Does she ride MIT? No, she does not. So this is it. So I think I have given you some examples of using do and does both for positive sentences as well as for negative sentences. With this backdrop, we'll go to the next slide, sir. Go to the next slide. Now, I'm giving you some time for the participants. Now, I started with like, then eat, then ride, read. Now we have come to watch. I watch Sun TV. You watch Sun TV. We watch Sun TV. They watch Sun TV. He watches Sun TV. She watches Sun TV. I'm giving you more examples in this because left to myself, I am of a very strong opinion that these are the stepping stones for the next level of English speaking. Now, I watch Sun TV. Do I watch Sun TV? Yes, you do. You watch Sun TV. Do you watch Sun TV? Yes, you do. We watch Sun TV. Do we watch Sun TV? Yes, we do. They watch Sun TV. Do they watch Sun TV? Yes, they do. He watches Sun TV. Does he watch? See, he watches Sun TV. Does he watch Sun TV? Yes, he does. She watches Sun TV. Does she watch Sun TV? Yes, she does. Now, you know how to construct a statement and how to create a do or does question out of it. Now, let's go to the next one, sir. I told you, I watch Sun TV. I don't watch Star TV. You don't watch Star TV. We don't watch Star TV. They don't watch Star TV. He does not watch Star TV. She does not watch Star TV. Now, I don't watch Star TV. Do I watch Star TV? No, you don't. You don't watch Star TV. Do you watch Star TV? No, I don't. We don't watch Star TV. Do you watch Star TV? No, we don't. They don't watch Star TV. Do they watch Star TV? No, they don't. He does not watch Star TV. Does he watch Star TV? No, he does not. She does not watch Star TV. Does she watch Star TV? Yes, no, she does not. So we have seen 5, 6 these structures practicing 5, 6 verbs. So let's go to the next one. Now, this, see, sentences are in incomplete form. For example, you see what you see here: get up, brush teeth, drink coffee, go walk, walk, return. Now, I say, I get up. I get up at 6 a.m. You get up at 6 a.m. We get up at 6 a.m. They get up at 6 a.m. He gets up at 6 a.m. She gets up at 6 a.m. Understand? Now, I get up at 6 a.m. When do I get up? I get up at 6 a.m. When do I get up? You get up at 6 a.m., sir. You get up at 6 a.m. When do you get up? You get up at 6 a.m. We get up at 6 a.m. When do we get up? We get up at 6 a.m. They get up at 6 a.m. When do they get up? They get up at 6 a.m. He gets up at 6 a.m. When does he get up? He gets up at 6 a.m. She gets up at 6 a.m. When does she get up? She gets up at 6 a.m. Now, from do, does, we have come to constructing sentences using when starters. Using when starters. So, next. I brush my teeth at 6:15 a.m. I brush my teeth at 6:15 a.m. I brushed my teeth at 6:15 a.m. You brush your teeth at 6:15 a.m. We brush our teeth at 6:15 a.m. They brush their teeth at 6:15 a.m. He brushes his teeth at 6:15 a.m. She brushes her teeth at 6:15 a.m. I brush my teeth at 6:15 a.m. When do I brush my teeth? Sir, you brush your teeth at 6:15 a.m. He brushes his teeth at 6:15 a.m. When does he brush his teeth? He brushes his teeth at 6:15 a.m. Now, for the first two ones, we have used when. You should understand, whenever we use when, we also use at in one part of the sentence. I get up at 6 a.m. When it talks about time, I say when. When do I get up? Now, I drink coffee at 6:30 a.m. You drink coffee at 6:30 a.m. We drink coffee at 6:30 a.m. They drink coffee at 6:30 a.m. He drinks coffee at 6:30 a.m. She drinks coffee at 6:30 a.m. I drink coffee at 6:30 a.m. When do I drink coffee? You drink coffee at 6:30 a.m. When do you drink coffee? He drinks coffee at 6:30 a.m. When does he drink coffee? She drinks coffee at 6:30 a.m. When does she drink coffee? I go for walk at 6:40 a.m. You go for walk at 6:40 a.m. We go for walk at 6:40 a.m. They go for walk at 6:40 a.m. She goes for walk at 6:40 a.m. He goes for walk at 6:40 a.m. Now, how do you ask questions for this? When do I go for a walk? When do you go for a walk? When do we go for a walk? When do they go for a walk? When does he go for a walk? When does she go for a walk? See, you should understand. I go for a walk. I go for a walk at when it refers to time, I use the word at here. I go for a walk at 6:30 a.m. You go for a walk at 6:30 a.m. Something like that. Now, I walk for 40 minutes. You walk for 40 minutes. We walk for 40 minutes. They walk for 40 minutes. He walks for 40 minutes. She walks for 40 minutes. He walks for 40 minutes. She walks for 40 minutes. Now here, I walk for 40 minutes. How long do I walk? You walk for 40 minutes. How long do you walk? He walks for 40 minutes. How long does he walk? She walks for 40 minutes. How long does she walk? Now, here we have slowly started practicing questions using house starters. I return home at 7:20 a.m. I return home at 7:20 a.m. You return home at 7:20 a.m. We return home at 7:20 a.m. They return home at 7:20 a.m. He returns home at 7:20 a.m. She returns home at 7:20 a.m. Now, I return home at 7:20 a.m. When do I return home? He returns home at 7:20 a.m. When does he return home? See the difference. I return home at 7:20 a.m. When do I return home? He returns home at 7:20 a.m. When does he return? When I make use of I starter, I say do. When I make use of he starter, I use the word does. This you please remember, practice, and perfect. Now to the next slide, sir. Again, I take bath at 7 a.m. You take bath at 7 a.m. We take bath at 7 a.m. They take bath at 7 a.m. He takes bath at 7 a.m. She takes bath at 7 a.m. When do I take bath? He takes bath at 7 a.m. When does he take bath? He takes bath at 7 a.m. I eat breakfast at 7:15 a.m. You eat breakfast at 7:15 a.m. We eat breakfast at 7:15 a.m. He eats breakfast at 7:15 a.m. She eats breakfast at 7:15 a.m. So here, when do I eat breakfast? You eat breakfast at 7:15 a.m. When does she eat breakfast? She eats breakfast at 7:15 a.m. Now see, I eat 5 idlis for my breakfast. I brushed my teeth. Likewise, slightly expanded sentence. I eat 5 idlis for my breakfast. You eat 5 idlis for your breakfast. We eat 5 idlis for our breakfast. They eat 5 idlis for their breakfast. He eats 5 idlis for his breakfast. She eats 5 idlis for her breakfast. I eat 5 idlis for my breakfast. How many idlis do I eat for my breakfast? You eat 5 idlis for your breakfast. How many idlis do you eat for your breakfast? They eat 5 idlis for their breakfast. How many idlis do they eat for their breakfast? And he eats 5 idlis for his breakfast. How many idlis does he eat for his breakfast? How many idlis does he eat for his breakfast? Now, how long? When? How many? See, we have practiced do, does, when, how long, and now how many. I go to college at 8 a.m. You go to college at 8 a.m. We go to college at 8 a.m. They go to college at 8 a.m. He goes to college at 8 a.m. She goes to college at 8 a.m. So when I go to college at 8 a.m., when do I go to college? She goes to college at 8 a.m. When does she go? When does she go to college? I go to college by motorcycle. You go to college by motorcycle. We go to college by motorcycle. They go to college by motorcycle. He goes to college by motorcycle and she goes to college by motorcycle. I go to college by motorcycle. How do I go to college? You go to college by motorcycle. How do you go to college? We go to college by motorcycle. How do we go to college? They go to college by motorcycle. How do they go to college? He goes to college by motorcycle. How does he go to college? She goes to college by motorcycle. How does she go to college? So when, how long, and how many. See, slowly, we are sensitizing ourselves to different starters in English. Now, I told you, I brush my teeth at 6:15 a.m. Instead of saying, when do I brush my teeth? I can say, what do I do at 6:15 a.m.? The answer is one and the same. You brush your teeth at 6:15 a.m. How do I go to college? You go to college by bus. You go to college by motorcycle. How long do I go for a walk? You go for you go for a walk. You walk for 40 minutes. He walks for 40 minutes. Where do I go at 8 a.m.? You go to college at 8 a.m. Where do you go at 8 a.m.? I go to college at 8 a.m. Where does he go to? Where does he go at 8 a.m.? He goes to college at 8 a.m. Where does she go at 8 a.m.? She goes to college at 8 a.m. So this is again a kind of practice. Now, dear participant, you must understand one thing. When I see in my tenure as an English language teacher, whenever I give my students a kind of practice like this, I get into a kind of saintly connotation because I never scold my students when I give them practice. The moment I scold them, then it becomes a big challenge to extract words from their mouths. That is one thing. They switch off simply. Another thing is that many of you would have known this story, Vikram and Vedal. And there is a book named Chanda Mama, where this story comes as a serial. In each and every issue, Vikramaditya, he climbs up the bamboo drumstick tree, brings down the Vedal, carries
So, dear participants, if you have any queries, you can put in the chat box.
right. Now, every time when we give them practice, when they are given practice, it gives them a feeling that the learners have understood and perfected. But when they come back to the next class, they will again fumble. So, learning of spoken English, it's not simply listening to something. It's something which requires constant practice. Unless you are well versed with usage of do and does, and you are comfortable in using WH starters, you cannot go to the next level, sir. So jittering, so as I told you, all children, they crawl before they start walking. This is very common phenomenon for all people. So they see, have you seen any baby which started walking immediately? Definitely not. See, another thing is that one good question one student has asked. On occasions when you speak English, try to ensure that you think and speak in the same languages. Never resort to translation method. Never go for word by word translation in your mind. Ideas must get generated in your mind in English, and in the same language it has to be delivered. And your thought and delivery should get synchronized. They must be done at the same time. Understand? So this is very, very important. Now to the last slide. Go to the last slide, sir. Next slide.
That's all, Professor.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, brevity is the soul of wit. So I told the organizers of this program that I can at best be with them for 75 minutes. And I think we are in the completion of the program. So I will be very happy if one or two participants come forward and give feedback so that if there are things from my end, I can rectify them and see that all these things are given in an accurate manner in the subsequent programs. So I request the participants to come up with the feedbacks. So,
Professor.
Yes.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Sir,
Yeah, sir. Good afternoon, sir. My name is Santosh Kumar. So today we have a resourceful session from you, sir, regarding the spoken English, and the same the skills which you have taught us would also be helpful for the communication skills also, how to speak English, how to maintain the language, and how to what type of words that are to be used according to the situation, what type of do forms are to be used, how forms are to be used, and so on. We are really excited for that. And I have a small query, sir. Generally, while students or teachers, even students or teachers, while they work the process of speaking English, so there would be the influence of mother tongue.
Santosh.
Yes, sir.
1 minute.
Yes, sir.
I'm unable to hear you clearly because there is some noises emanating.
Sir, am I audible clearly now, sir?
Now it's okay.
Yeah,
Now,
yes, sir.
approach.
So generally, while we practice spoken English, while we speaking in English, automatically even the teachers or a student, whoever it might be, there might be a little chance of influence of their own regional language. That means influence of mother tongue.
So no
Yes.
problem there.
Yeah.
See, I'll tell you one thing,
Yeah.
sir. We are all Tamil speakers,
Yes, sir.
and we will live as Tamil speakers.
Yes, sir.
So on occasions when we speak English,
Yeah.
and if we are carried away by our mother tongue influence, no harm, sir.
Yeah.
No harm.
Yes.
Because I'll tell you one thing, very soon India will become a country with largest English speaking population in the world.
Yes.
So when that day comes,
Yeah.
we'll be the majority, sir.
Yes.
And the kind of English spoken in India
Yes.
will have an official sanctity because it's spoken by the largest population in the world.
Yes.
So வல்லவன் வகுத்ததான் வாய்க்கால்.
Yes. Correct.
சரிங்களா?
Yes, sir.
அப்போ நிறைய விஷயங்கள் ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிள் I'll give you a simple example.
Okay, sir.
Boyfriend, girlfriend,
Yes.
cousin brother, cousin sister.
Yes.
Things are there in Indian
Yeah.
context.
Okay.
I say,
Yeah.
Ramesh is my boyfriend.
Yeah.
We all know that Ramesh is a name
Yeah.
which only boys have,
Yeah.
and no girl bears the name Ramesh.
Okay.
Is it not enough if I say Ramesh is my friend? Should I
Yeah.
re-emphasize by stating that Ramesh is my boyfriend?
Yeah.
Or Kokila is my girlfriend? Kokila is a name given
Yeah.
only to women,
Okay.
and no boy bears such name.
Yeah.
So, likewise,
Yeah.
cousin, I say, Leela is my cousin sister.
Yeah. Yeah.
Leela, only women bear such names.
Yeah.
And when you say Leela, the listener will understand that it refers to a girl or a woman.
Yeah.
So it's enough you say Leela is my cousin.
Yeah.
But in Indian context, it is accepted.
Okay.
So this is all because of mother tongue influence.
Okay, sir.
Go to any tea shop, sir.
Okay.
Order for a cup of tea.
Yeah.
Ramakrishnan will accept this.
Okay.
Then the tea master will say,
Ah.
sir, tea light or stronger.
Yes, sir. This is what we commonly hear in the tea shops.
இப்ப லைட்டா ஸ்ட்ராங்கா அப்படின்னா என்ன அர்த்தம்? ஸ்ட்ராங்குக்கு ஆப்போசிட் என்ன சார்?
Light.
ஸ்ட்ராங்குக்கு ஆப்போசிட் வீக் சார்.
Weak.
லைட்டுக்கு ஆப்போசிட் டார்க் சார்.
Dark. Yeah.
அப்ப அவர் என்ன கேட்டிருக்கணும்? லைட் டீயா டார்க் டீயான்னு கேட்டிருக்கணும். இல்ல ஸ்ட்ராங் டீயா வீக் டீயான்னு கேட்கணும். ரெண்டுக்கு சம்மதம் இல்லாம கேட்கிறாரு பாருங்க.
ஆமா சார்.
அப்ப லைட்டுக்கு ஆப்போசிட் டார்க் தான்பா.
டார்க் தானே.
அப்ப இது எல்லாமே மதர் டங் இதெல்லாம் வந்து இந்தியன் கான்டெக்ட் சார். இது வந்து இது இப்படித்தான். நீங்க இந்த டீ மாஸ்டர் திருத்த முடியாதுங்க.
ஆமா சார்.
நீங்க இதெல்லாம் சொல்லி இருந்தா உங்களுக்கு டீயே கிடைக்காதுங்க.
கண்டிப்பா முடியாது சார்.
ஆமா, ஒரு அகாடமிக் செட்டிங்ல நம்ம இதெல்லாம் இப்படிதான் அப்படின்னு சொல்லி
ஆமா சார்.
சொல்லி தரலாம்.
ஆமா.
ஆனா இன் ரியல் லைஃப் சிச்சுவேஷன் வி காம்ப்ரமைஸ், வேற வழி இல்லைங்க. சரிங்களா?
ஆமா சார்.
அது அப்படிதான்.
ஓகே சார். நன்றி சார்.
ஆமா. வேற சொல்லுங்க சார். வேற இஸ் தேர் எனி அதர் क्वेश्चन டு பி ஆஸ்க்ட்?
No, sir. Few viewers posted their question in the chat box.
சரி சார்.
For example, how I avoid sluttering.
Sir, that is they need to record their utterances, sir, and play back. Whenever they speak, it has to be recorded and played back, sir. The more they listen to their
Sir,
own
good afternoon. Sir, good afternoon.
this kind of stammering can be overcome, sir.
Sir, good afternoon.
That is how they listen, sir. Then what else, sir?
Sir, good afternoon.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Are the participants from your college or from other colleges, sir? Right.
Professor, another one participant has posted his question that what are the grammatical components needed for improving spoken English?
Absolutely, you don't need any grammar, sir. Grammar is kept in abeyance. I told you categorically that the moment you become conscious about grammar, words will not come out of your mouth. Forget about grammar. First of all, let sentences reel off your mouth. Then fluency first, accuracy next. Sir. You be a fluent speaker, then slowly you will become an accurate speaker. Sir. So when you practice spoken aspect of English, Forget about grammar. Absolutely not. Grammar is not at all wanted. Told you, when you started learning spoken aspect of Tamil, nobody taught you grammar, but you learned it. You picked it somewhere or other. Slowly it will come, sir. This is what you must tell your students, Ramesh.
Okay, bro. Okay, bro. Sir, another one question. How to avoid verbal clutches and sputtering while speaking?
Verbal clutches and hello.
Yes, bro. Sir. Verbal clutches and sputtering while speaking.
Sir, practice makes a man perfect, sir. And all the problems that and individual experiences, definitely you and I would have experienced at an earlier stage in our lives. Definitely our parents are Indians, isn't it? So our mother tongue is also Tamil. So English for us also, it's a foreign language. It's not our native language. So the problems that these students undergo, you and I would have undergone this much earlier, sir. Probably as we were young, we were able to come out of it, get rid of it at the earliest. So only practice, sir. There cannot be any solution. You keep practicing like what I gave you practice today. And after do, does, after when do, when does, you can say, when am I going to, when are you going to, then you can go, when do we have, when does she have, when does she has, something like that. So slowly, it requires sustained practice, at least 30 days of rigorous practice, 1.5 hours every day, slowly to what shall I say, rivet all these structures into the minds of learners. It needs a sustained practice. It's a process, rather. Then what, sir? Shall we call it a day now? Ram.
Sir, shall we wind up now, sir?
Yes.
Okay. So before winding up, I request our Professor Ramakrishnan to propose vote of thanks.
Oh,
Yes. GR? GR, Ramakrishnan?
RB? I'm here.
Yes.
Okay. Now let us go for the formal vote of thanks. I take immense pleasure am I audible, RB?
Yes,
Okay.
you can.
Yeah, I take immense pleasure in proposing vote of thanks in this occasion. First of all, I would like to thank our college management and our principal and professor, Dr. C. Narayanan, for guiding us and planning for this webinar. And as our viewers and participants have told, really this session is fantastic and highly useful. And many have told that it is a really interesting session and it's a very competent as well as a comprehensive session. And our professor, Dr. Anand Babu, has given such type of useful session on this day. So you are the hero of today of our Jnanamani professor. Thank you very much. And it is not completed that if I am leaving without thanking my HOD as well as my colleagues for their continuous support and rigorous follow-up and so on. So I convey my special thanks to the people who are on the backbone of this webinars. Last but not least, I thank all the participants, faculty members, and students from various institutions and universities across the nation. Thank you all. Thank you all once again. Keep safe and stay home and keep learning continuously. We, the Jnanamanians, wish you to have a very good future ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you for inviting everyone. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Really, it was really and enlightened moment, sir. Thank you.
Okay, so now we leave this platform and we can come on phone and talk later. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Manikandan, sir.
RB, what about the feedback form? Is it posted?
Yeah, it's posted. It is submitted.
Okay. Is it working properly?
Hello,
RB?
sir.
VM, sir.
Sir, I'm here.
Yeah. I think most of them have submitted their feedback.
Some
Sir.
people have reported that the feedback form is not working. Link is not linked properly, like that they are reporting.
No, sir. No, sir. It is working. And I have already submitted.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
It is
Anyway,
working.
please once again you can post it.
Okay, sir.
VM, sir. GR.
Yes.
Now 10 of the record option.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay.